I fully expected Saigon to be interesting and even challenging. But on my second full day in the city, I was surprised at just how pleasurable it was. I didn't expect daily life to contain so much simple enjoyment. I walked around a lot, as I often do, and I discovered narrow streets that were end to end, packed with easily accessible food and drinks. I went to a quaint cafe, a modern coffee shop, and a basic noodle shop, and the level of friendly customer service astonished me. Highlights of the day included a Hanoi specialty called egg coffee, a tasty bowl of pho, and a crash course in making your way through the rivers of Saigon scooter traffic. So sit back, relax, let me do all the work, and enjoy this video in which I become better acquainted with my new temporary home, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Good morning. Welcome back to Ho Chi Minh City. I'm just across the street from my hotel. That's it over there, the Adenia Hotel. And I had plans this morning to go to the War Remnants Museum, but my morning sort of spun out of control and the time started to pass, and I realized after reading a few reviews that it can get very hot in that museum. It isn't air conditioned. It's a big place. You'd probably want to spend a lot of time there, and it can get very crowded. I guess these are reviews from the weekend though, and this is a weekday. But anyway, I decided that it's probably best to postpone and go there early in the morning. They open at 7:30 in the morning, and people are saying it gets so hot in there. You want to go there as early as possible, take advantage of the cool morning. So I decided to change my plans at the last minute. So instead of going to the museum this morning, I'm just going to hang out in my own neighborhood and do some snacking, things like that. And I'm meeting up with a friend later this evening, I hope, for dinner. So today is going to be a day of just relaxing in my neighborhood. And I'm starting with the September 23rd park. This is where I am right now. As I've already mentioned a couple of times, there's some sort of an underground section to this park, like a big underground shopping mall or market. So it's in there somewhere, but I don't know exactly where it is. So the plan for today, I'm going to start with an egg coffee, which I understand is a Hanoi specialty. Egg coffee, Hanoi is known for that. But I like eggs, I like coffee. I don't even know what it is, to be honest, but I was looking at Google Maps and there seems to be a pleasant sort of little Hanoi egg coffee cafe over here. So that's what I'm looking for, and they have a balcony. Maybe I can get a seat on the balcony and enjoy an egg coffee to start my day. Again, I have no idea what egg coffee is. I get the impression, maybe there's no eggs involved. I get the impression it's sort of a creamy coffee. But whatever it is, that's what I have my heart set on. And then I'm going to snack throughout the day, just stay in my own neighborhood, perhaps have another banh mi, some noodles, something like that. So first we have to track down a little Hanoi egg coffee place. To my surprise, I've found it, and it exists, and it is open. And I see a bunch of foreign tourists like me hanging out on the cafe on the balcony up there. A couple of empty tables though. Maybe I can head up there and join them. At least I see it up there on the 3rd floor. I don't know where the entrance is, but we'll track it down in a second. I'm not used to finding places so easily. Normally the place I'm looking for is generally not there anymore or closed or something like that. But there it is, Little Hanoi Egg Coffee. And this is the entrance right here, right behind me. They call it the hidden gem, the unique culture. So it probably has a bit of a reputation amongst foreign visitors. I didn't hear about it until I just spotted it on Google Maps. But considering the way it looks and the number of people up there, so there's a motorbike parking for egg coffee. And, oh yeah, people have mentioned this to me, that whenever you go to places in Saigon in particular, you're always starting off with these stairways. This is very cool. These old, tall, thin buildings. Someone was saying to me that in Hanoi, or in Saigon, you find a lot of very narrow, tall buildings. Something to do with taxes or rental prices are based on how wide it is or something like that. So there was a tendency to have tall, narrow buildings as opposed to wide ones, just to save money. Oh, I see. So it's like whatever type of coffee each country is famous for. Espresso, frappe, egg coffee for Vietnam, cafezino for Brazil, Cafe Cuba. I should know that flag as well. Flat white Turkish coffee, and egg coffee for this place. We're spreading egg coffee love. And we're inside a popular place, and yeah, very interesting interior. I'm sitting on the inside. It's actually air conditioned in here, which, to be honest, I prefer right now. The balcony, I'm assuming, is a lot hotter. And outside they have a long counter there with sort of bar stools. And then here there's some tables, a lot of seating. But when I came in, the woman just sort of gestured here to this table, and I'm fine with that. And there's yeah, a lot of photography on the walls. Countryside from the Hanoi area, I assume.
Make some crackers. Fish crackers.
And then there's the view outside. You can actually see the park out there. And yeah, you could sit down out there if you wanted to, if I wanted to. But I think I'll stay on the inside for now. Stay nice and cool. Used books over there. Let's check the menu. They have white breads, dip creamy eggs. So, well, let me grab the GoPro and I can show you what the menu looks like. So our signature egg coffee, hot or cold, 40,000 dong. So I guess that is a creamy egg coffee right there. Regular coffee, fresh fruit drinks, teas, and they probably serve food. Yep, so they do have some food here. Eggs, toast. So you can get breakfast here as well. I'm probably going to get breakfast along with the egg coffee. Maybe some cheese toast. That looks good. Garlic mushroom toast. Thank you. And grilled pork noodles, Vietnamese food. Ham, egg, cheese toast. That looks good too. 100,000 dong. Salmon avocado toast. 120,000. Bacon avocado toast. And spring rolls, a snack. Very pleasant ordering experience. Woman came right to my table a few minutes after, brought me the menu. And And yeah, I went for the ham, cheese, egg toast with egg coffee. And you get a nice cup of iced tea as well, light Chinese tea. Very nice. Oh, it is nice. Cinnamon, has a cinnamon flavoring. So yeah, this seems like the kind of place where they make an effort to add little touches to everything. Boutique-y, cafe culture, which I quite like. I like that little cinnamon touch. My breakfast and the egg coffee have arrived, and in keeping with what I was talking about in my first video, having lunch yesterday, there seems to be a definite style here of preparing the food and drinks with little touches and additions, extra things. So my ham and egg and cheese toast, whatever it was I ordered, comes with little extras. Let me show you. So you get a nice little salad to go with it, and then some watermelon and banana slices. You know, nothing major, but a really nice presentation. And here is the famous egg coffee, which, to be honest, I still don't really know what it is. Does it actually involve eggs or not? I'm about to find out. Let's try some of this egg coffee first. Whoa, whoa, whoa is right. It has a very thick, creamy surface on the top. Okay, there's coffee down at the bottom, like regular dark coffee, but half the cup is coffee. The other half of the cup is completely filled with this creamy egg stuff. Very sweet. I think it really is some sort of an egg cream. And I think the idea might be to get bread with it. You get toast, and you can dip the bread into this cream and eat it that way. It's really nice. Very rich. Very, very rich. Let's see what the coffee tastes like underneath. Wow. That is a flavor sensation. Worth the effort of coming here. Really is nice. The top part, the creamy egg part, is so thick. It's actually hard to get through it to the coffee down below, but once you hit the coffee, it is dark and rich and thick, really, and hot. Just nice. I probably have egg custard all over my lips. Okay, this is a flavor sensation. This is really nice. If I had my stamp, Planet Doug approved, very much so. Wow, that is really good. I'm gonna get every last bit off my lips. Okay. Let's try my, that is nice. It's thick and heavy. That is so good. I tend to worry a little bit with a sort of a boutique-y cafe like this, which gets a lot of style and is really fancy. In my normal experience would be that the actual meals would be a little bit slim, a little bit disappointing, like the portions are too small. They focus so much on the fanciness that they forget that they're there to feed you. This is not that. That is a substantial 2 thick pieces of whole wheat bread, tons of ham, tons of egg, tons of cheese. It's really good. That is nice. Have a little banana slice to go along with it. A plus, right across the board. I'm a simple guy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the flavors are are subtle and perfect and spicing and all that. I don't know. I just need a nice, solid meal for breakfast, and this really fits the bill. It seems like a sandwich you would make at home, like if you were in your own kitchen and you're just going to make yourself a ham and cheese and egg sandwich. You'd end up making yourself a big, hearty, filling sandwich, and that's what they did here. Very nice. Very pleased. I don't think I got any of the egg coffee experience on video, so before it's all gone, I thought I'd show you what it looks like. Look at that. Just look at that. Creamy and thick. Very, very, and so much of it there. So you can spoon it up. You can drink it, or you can dip bread into it, whatever you like. So, you know. Breakfast is done. That was very, very good. I enjoyed that quite a bit. And the balcony is not filled right now, so before I leave, I'm just going to step outside to show you what it looks like if you were sitting out there. And here they have history of egg coffee. It's a traditional drink in Hanoi. It's created in 1940 by a Vietnamese barista who was working in a French restaurant. The way they're telling the story is that milk coffee was very popular with the American Army, but milk was really expensive, so they substituted egg yolk mixed with sugar and made their own version of milk coffee, and now it has become well known with all Vietnamese as well as tourists. Cool. Oh yeah, I like this. A Lonely Planet guidebook inside a case with inside a frame with glass. It's almost like they could have a sign there saying break glass in case of travel emergency. If you need some comfort from an old school Lonely Planet guide, they have one on display, but you have to break the glass to get it. So yeah, there's the view from out here on the balcony. Nice. And they got a little bit of plant life up here. We're up on the third or fourth floor, something like that. Yeah, just to sum up, I guess, really good service there. The people were really friendly, very efficient. They seemed to know what they're doing. And I didn't know about this place before. It seems like it has a really good reputation. A lot of people know about it. And, but yeah, seems to me like they deserve that reputation. Yeah, I enjoyed this quite a bit. I don't think an egg coffee like that is something you're going to have every morning. It's way too rich for that. Normally, I would just like a straight coffee with a little bit of cream, black coffee with cream. An egg mixture like that would be too much if you had that every morning, of course. But as a special treat, enjoyed that quite a bit. Heading down the stairs. Yeah. Look at that. Egg coffee this way. Yeah, you do have to be careful here. I noticed my feet were drifting towards the inside, and then the steps get narrower and narrower, and then you go around the corner. You could easily slip there. So make your corners very wide. Otherwise, yeah, I think these steps could trip you up pretty easily. It adds a lot to the character of the place, doesn't it? These stairwells. So looking way, way up there. And then here in the entryway, another little business operating here. They're probably serving people on the outside, and even a little bed, a sleeping area up there with a TV. You can see the steps, a little ladder going up, a little hidey hole. For lunch, I was thinking about typical pho, if that's how it's pronounced. I got to get that straight in my head.
Pho, pho, pho.
But local noodle soup, and I just spotted this little place right there. Beef noodle, and it says there in Vietnamese, pho. So that could be a place to get lunch a little bit later on. I'm not normally one for having multiple meals a day, but here in Ho Chi Minh City, it seems like you might as well be eating all the time. There are so many places to choose from, and I guess the idea would just be to have small meals each time. I wouldn't want to eat a big meal 3 times a day, but if I could eat 3 times a day, if I just keep them to small portions like that light breakfast that I just had, and then a noodles for lunch, and something light for dinner. Yeah, while you're here, you might as well sample as many different places as you can. There's so many places to eat. There's another noodle place. I can't quite read it. Something Giong Pho. It looks since 1664. I don't think so. It couldn't quite be that old, but it looks like it has some character, some ambiance. Might be a good place to have some noodles as well. It's now a couple hours later, and it's time for the next snacking adventure of my day. I'm heading across the park again to that place where they served. I was even listening to a YouTube tutorial video about how to say this word in Vietnamese. And I swear it's one word, but it was a video that was 15 minutes long. It's that complicated, how to say this one word. But of course, I'm talking about pho, noodle soup, basically beef noodle soup. And yeah, in the video they were doing, well, this is the simple way to say it. It was like pho, and this is the real way. And he's talking about how Vietnamese speakers at the end of the they put their jaw forward and make it into a pho. It was very complicated, and I just gave up. But anyway, I'm getting some noodles, some pho, and there's a whole bunch of places around here where you can get it. But when I was walking along here from the Little Hanoi egg coffee place, I spotted one, and hello. I spotted 2 of them actually. There was one over here, that's right. It looked like a very simple neighborhood one. That was the first one I saw. And then there was another one over here, I think called 118. And I think it might be more well known. So I'm going to go to this one. I believe foreign visitors know about this place. It seems to have a reputation. I think it's just up ahead over here somewhere. A friend of mine even, he found out I was heading out to get pho for lunch. And he sent me some links saying you should try this place and this place. And then one of the places he recommended was actually this 118 place, which I think is right over here. So that is what I'm going to do. I started to think I was imagining things and this place didn't exist, but there it is. I don't know the full name of it, but yeah, it's located, I guess the address number is 118. And comes recommended. Friendly people run the place. Someone here speaks English quite well. I see a lot of reviews where the owner was willing to talk to the customers and explain what pho is, what makes pho a pho, all the ingredients. But yeah, this is the place here. So this is where I'm going to have lunch. And they even have a menu on the outside, which I love to see, to entice people in. Okay. So this menu over here is the pho. A whole bunch of different types of pho. I don't know about all the different varieties. This one is the traditional one, so I guess that's what I will get, of course. Rare, well done brisket, tenderloin, tripe, fatty flank, meatballs, marrow. I don't know. I don't know if you get to choose. I will just end up with the basic one. But there's the house special pho. So that's what you've got here. And then they serve a bunch of other things as well. A whole bunch of food items all here. So I took a seat on the inside. And they have the menus on the inside. But yeah, the same items that you saw outside there, just arranged differently, as you can see. This really makes me smile, actually. The surprises about going to a different country. I just ordered the pho. I don't know if I'm supposed to put my jaw forward. Pho. And then I was looking for something to drink, and you instinctively, I'm looking for water. Okay, they have water. And, there we go. Thank you. But of course, this is what I ended up with, Saigon beer. I was looking at the water, and I thought, I'll just get some water. And then I thought, maybe some Coke over ice would be nice. And then the Coke over ice is 20,000 dong. And I'm scanning down the menu, and then I see that Saigon beer is also 20,000 dong. So a beer, which I think of as a luxury, is in fact the same price or cheaper than some of the alternatives. I normally get milk, water. If I'm feeling particularly happy someday, I'll get a Coke. But now the beer has entered my life. There we have a Saigon beer. Because it's the same price as a Coke. So I figure, well, why not? I feel like I'm celebrating now, having a beer for lunch. And yeah, ice, I don't mind ice. So this is ice cold already. Beer. It's been a long time. Sacrilege. I am going to pour it over ice just to get it as cold as possible. A giant glass of ice. I didn't even have to ask for it. It's kind of unusual in a way because most people, they would never pour beer over ice, but I do it from time to time. My pho has arrived. My beef noodles. Very excited. I'll show you what it looks like. All right, here is the pho. My understanding is that the strips of beef are so thin, they're almost not even cooked before they goes into the broth. And then the heat of the broth actually cooks them as you make the soup. Something like that. And then rice noodles underneath. And as with all Vietnamese dishes, you end up with some greenery to go along with it. It's a very common thing with all Vietnamese dishes, I think. I'm going to try some completely unadorned. And yeah, just try some of the beef first. It's nice. Again, no expert in anything to do with any type of food. I think you could get pho like this all over the place and it would all be good. So I guess I'm focused more on the experience of going to a place. If I feel welcome, the seating, comfort levels, stuff like that. And I love this place from that point of view. Very comfortable. I like the chairs and the tables. The server, the guy who's here, very friendly, very nice. Try some of the noodles. Very nicely done, the noodles. And he put this on my table deliberately, so I think I'm supposed to add some of this, a little bit of sauce. I don't know how hot it is, or just add a couple of scoops of that. And he brought some lime, so I'll trust the expert. He wants me to add some lime, so I'll do that. And there we go. See how hot this orange sauce is. It's pretty hot. You do want to add that sparingly, I think. The amount I put in is not that bad, but you would want to just pour pour it in. But yeah, like I said, these the greenery that they give you is always kind of interesting. It gives me a little bit of a rabbit feeling, because it isn't lettuce. It looks almost like I could walk across to the park and find this growing on the grass, and it would never occur to me to eat it, but it's often served with meals here. I think I'm supposed to eat it, or maybe I just add it to the noodles for flavor. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Mint. Maybe I'm not supposed to eat that. Just add it to the soup for flavor if you want to. I'm going to dive in and enjoy this for my lunch with my Saigon beer. Lunch is over. That's the pho place behind me right there. Still not sure about the name of the place exactly, but it's easy to find. 118, very distinctive sign on the out front. And it's just down the street from the egg coffee place. Little Hanoi is over there. And this is the park, of course. Something I just learned is that Little Hanoi Egg Coffee actually has 2 outlets. The first, I guess the original one, is over here somewhere. I didn't know about that. And the one I went to this morning, this quaint little one up on the 2nd floor, that's actually their 2nd outlet. So a friend of mine recommended that, yeah, if I stay here for a while and I have the chance, I should go check out the original as well. It's down on the on ground floor, I think, and supposed to be quite nice as well. And I think the next stage of my day won't happen until a little bit later. I'm going to be meeting up with a friend of mine from India for drinks and dinner, perhaps. I'm not quite sure. We're meeting in some sort of an office tower, a couple of kilometers away from here, but not until after 5:30, 6 o'clock, when it gets cooler, and then maybe after rush hour, something like that. And that is going to be my dinner. That'll be the 3rd part of my day of snacking. But as I said, that's not going to be for a couple of hours. And I'll check back in with my GoPro when that time rolls around. Gets a little bit cooler. Sun gets down in the sky a little bit. New time of day. Nice time of day, actually. 20 after 5. Quite a bit cooler. Sun is still up, so it's still nice and bright, but not nearly as hot. And I'm on my way to meet up with a friend. I don't think he'll be showing up on video. I'll be sort of hanging out with him, but shooting around him. I'll show you where we are. You'll be aware that he's there, but you may not actually see him on video. This is kind of interesting. I didn't even realize this. Burger King, right in my neighborhood. So where I'm meeting him is at some sort of a tower. He suggested it. He's here in This friend of mine, he's from India, but he's here in Saigon right now, but he's in another district altogether. And there's some sort of a tower, a Viettel tower. It's halfway between where he is and where I am. So he suggested that we meet there. So that's what I'm doing. Oh yeah, here it is. I was looking for an intersection where I have to cross over. It's right up ahead. And I could get there by bus, but the bus would probably take about 40 minutes, and it's going to take 30 minutes to walk there, so I'm just going to walk. And when I walk, I get to see things like this church over here. I'm actually right around the corner from the Little Hanoi egg coffee place. And I noticed this church when I was at the egg coffee cafe. And who knows what other sights there will be along the way. I'm still walking along in a bit of a daze about modern Vietnam, how different it is from my memory of Vietnam from the past. For example, everything around me right now, right over across the road, the Adora Dynasty, whatever this fancy place is, more fancy buildings, fancy building over here. I don't know, everything just seems very modern and advanced and very, a lot of money here now all of a sudden, since the economic boom. It's a very different country. And as I walk along, I can tell stories, I guess, a couple of small ones. This afternoon when I was walking across the park after my noodles, after my lunch, one of the shoe shine guys tracked me down, a young guy. I saw him making a beeline across the park, heading straight towards me. And I had a sense he was heading my way. And I didn't know what he was at first. I just saw he had a box in his arms. Ooh, look at this. Another intersection. I've got a walk signal. Look at this cafe right here. Beautiful building. Lin. 1975 it says. Probably got a history to it. And Lin Cafe. In an old building. Nice. So yeah, I saw this guy walking towards me with a box kind of on a strap around his neck or something. I didn't know, I thought he was selling something. He got close and then he sped up and he started pointing at my feet, of course. And then I realized, oh, he's a shoe shine guy. And you'd think because I wear sandals, there's nothing to shine, but of course that's not going to deter him. So he's like pointing at my sandals. And I was like, no, thank you, no, thank you. There's no need. And then he gets out a bottle of glue and starts chasing me with this bottle of glue. And he's pointing at one of my sandals, saying something in English about how it's torn. Fix, there. And he was so confident the way he said it, I actually stopped walking and looked down at my left foot, at my sandal on my left foot, to see what he was pointing at. And he was like, yeah, there. And he seemed to indicate a flap was coming loose and he wanted to glue it for me. But I just looked and I didn't see anything wrong. And I said, no, thank you. And I just kept walking. Of course, he had no idea that I just bought these sandals. I went through this major adventure back in Kuala Lumpur, shopping for new sandals. I've been obsessed with getting new sandals, and I finally got them, so I'm very well aware that they're brand new, fresh from the Bata store, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. But anyway, but he kind of convinced me so much so that when I got back to my hotel room, I took off my sandals and I sat down in a chair, and I kind of took a close look at my sandals, like, oh, maybe something is tearing off. But of course, no, there was nothing. nothing on these sandals that needed to be glued in any way. So, another busy road. And yeah, I can imagine without traffic lights, this would be quite a challenge to get across. But oh, right now we got a walk signal. And across I go. And I think my route is down this alleyway here. Yeah, look at all these amazing restaurants and cafes. They're everywhere. This is a massage parlor, I guess. Very cool. 6 Van 8 food and beer. Looks like this alley serves as a little bit of a shortcut for a lot of these motorcycle riders. Little alleyway seafood restaurant. Yeah, if you lived here, if you got a job as an English teacher or something and you lived in Ho Chi Minh City, I'm sure you'd get to know all of these back streets quite well. You'd end up buying a scooter and you'd be zipping around all these alleyways just like the locals. You figure out all these shortcuts. Check this out. I can go that way. I'm going to go this way. Another difference I've picked up on in my short time here in Ho Chi Minh City is a number of dogs. A lot of dogs here, like family pets. I was in the park and I saw a lot of people there walking their dogs and treating them very, very well. Like they were escorting monarchy around the park. And I see people out in front of their homes washing their dogs. I saw a guy this afternoon with a big hose, and the dog was just as happy as can be, wagging its tail, and the guy's hosing it down, nice cold water. The dog was so happy. Yeah, I just see a lot of dogs everywhere, and you don't, like family pets, small dogs. And you generally wouldn't see that often in Malaysia or in Sumatra. Yeah, had a bit of an issue crossing that road because that truck was slowing down so much. I thought he was coming to a stop. Oh, look at that. Some sort of a cyclist cafe. All kinds of bicycles on the wall. Really interesting alleyway that I've stumbled across. Yeah, and right on cue. This is what I'm talking about. You see this little white dog up ahead in front of the store. Oh, there's one right over there behind me. And there's another little pooch over there. A little pooch. But yeah, they're all very well cared for. Family pets. I'm still heading in basically the right direction. And there is traffic has come to a stop because of this traffic light over there. So I think I can cross the street here. And I think I could have gone down that alley as well, but this looks like an interesting road right here. A lot of activity. Let's head in this direction. All I know is I sort of have to keep going in this direction. I have no idea what part of the city you would call this. It's like a major flow of scooters. Look at that. Such a busy route. Gonna have to cross over to the other side of the street, I think. I like to walk against traffic. At least then I can see what's going to hit me. Yeah, I still haven't gotten accustomed to the traffic flowing on the right. I got so accustomed to it in Malaysia and Indonesia, all the traffic going on the left. I still have a deep instinct in my brain from growing up in Canada. The right still feels more natural, but over time, I have gotten used to the opposite. What a great little alley this is. This is amazing. Pad Thai. Look at all these restaurants, little shops. But as usual, I don't see very many people walking. As a pedestrian, I'm in the minority here. And I'm meeting my friend at a large tower, as I said, the Viettel Tower. So at some point up ahead, I'm expecting to see a clearing, if there's an opening, and then I should be able to see a big tower somewhere. Maybe that's it on the right. I see something emerging. As I thought would happen, there it is. That's the Viettel Tower up there. So that's where I'm going. Just a short distance ahead. Yeah, rush hour, no joke. People are rushing, but yeah, that's the street that I just came down. Very interesting. I have no idea what district this is. I'm sure my friend knows. When I was plotting my route to get here, I did notice this big roundabout. Or I noticed a big roundabout, and this must be it right here. Yeah, looks like they've mastered roundabout technology, which is cool. I noticed when I was in Kuala Lumpur, a lot of people would come up on a roundabout and just stop. They would stop the car and then wait for an opening rather than just keep going, which always struck me as kind of odd. Because the whole point of a roundabout is that nobody has to slow down or stop. You just merge. But for some reason in Malaysia, they developed a habit of slowing down and stopping for a roundabout. So this could be a bit of a challenge, I must admit. There's no no traffic light here at the roundabout. There goes the dog. So yeah, just gonna have to head out into this and wait for people to go around me. There we go. Yeah, you almost get mesmerized by the flow. It's never ending. It's hypnotic. Look at that. Yeah. And now I have another section to get across. There's a wave of scooters coming my way. And there we are. So, I survived. Now I'm looking for Wayne coffee shop. It's around here somewhere. It'd be nice to get up a bit higher, get a view of this roundabout from up high, get some video of all this traffic flowing around it. That'd be very cool. I'm here, Wayne Coffee, Wayne's Coffee, so just have to wait for my friend to show up. Wonder if it's air conditioned inside here, inside the tower. Ah, yes, it is. It's nice. So I can cool down in here. So I'm out here in the courtyard outside of this Viettel tower and Wayne's Coffee. I've been sitting inside for a while, just hanging out with my friend. We've been chatting over a iced tea, and he ordered some Chinese food to be delivered. He's the master of Grab. He knows how to do everything over Grab. He ordered a whole bunch of food, and there's a Grab driver on his way. And yeah, I guess with this Wayne coffee shop, they don't mind if you're hanging out inside doing work or having coffee, and then you can come out here, have some food out here on their tables. They don't mind. And then you can go back inside and keep working if that's what you're doing. But anyway, yeah, so we're just here waiting for the Grab driver to show up. As I said, my friend is a master of all this. He does it all the time. He's actually ordered food for me from other countries. So when I was down in Port Dickson, food would show up at my hotel there because he was ordering it from another country and things like that, and it'd be delivered to my door. And yeah, I don't know how to do any of that sort of thing. It's too complicated for me. But yeah, so anyway, we're gonna grab a seat out here, and yeah, some food will show up in a minute. Yeah, here he comes with the meal. Stormy. It feels like there's a huge storm coming. Major wind. Trying to find a table. Trying to get out of the wind. I'm trying to find a table to get out of the wind because out there it's like a typhoon.
How about somewhere back?
Yeah, do you think there's better back there?
I think give it a shot.
Yeah, the food has arrived, and I don't even exactly know what's happening here. This is, what did you call this?
This is some Szechuan, Sichuan noodles. I'd have to see.
Yeah, some sort of Szechuan noodles. And then he asked me, like, do you mind spicy? And I said, well, I don't mind spicy, but I think he deliberately ordered super spicy, which is the opposite of I don't mind spicy. It's just...
So that's the beef noodles, Szechuan beef noodles.
Szechuan beef noodles.
Yeah.
And this is the spicy, look at that red color there. That could be deadly. We'll see what happens with that. And there's also a, yeah, this wind is unbelievable. There's like a storm coming. Crazy. Some sort of a bun. Ah, yes. A special.
Braised belly pork.
Okay. Got my chopsticks. Got my spoon. And all the various garlics and sauces and things. Yeah, what's that?
Can you manage with the wind?
Well, it's probably going to all end up a disaster. I may just set this aside and not add it. I find generally there's enough flavor in everything without adding all. Oh, where did he go?
It's less sticky.
Okay. Sure, why not? If he's looking for a table without as much wind, because we are kind of in a typhoon right now. So we're changing tables. So, going to take a bite out of this bun, whatever it is. See what's going on here.
Is it?
It's good. That's very good. I could have 4 of these, and that would be dinner for me. That would be like, oh, good meal. No, that's really good.
What would you say your favorite cuisine is?
Oh boy.
Comfort food.
I don't know. I don't generally have comfort food. I mean, I get whatever's easiest
I see.
all the time.
So pizza?
Well, pizza would be great. I rarely get it because it's so expensive for what it is. I see all these people in movies and TV shows, they order a pizza and they have like 2 slices each out of a large. And I'm thinking, I need 2 large pizzas just for me. And by the time you have that, it's pretty expensive. So it's a treat to have 2 pizza.
Would you say you miss food from Canada? Canadian food?
No, I mean, what is Canadian food? There is no Canadian food, really. Back in the days when I was doing a lot of cycling and cooking in hotel rooms, I just made spaghetti all the time. There's a huge bowl of spaghetti, and I get a bag of spaghetti sauce from 7-Eleven, pre-made. Just cut it and pour it over top, and that would be my meal. And I found that really satisfying and filling. I suppose from a comfort food point of view. But wherever I am, I tend to find something local that is easy.
You said you were in Africa for a long time.
Well, in Ethiopia for about a year.
When was this? What year?
What's that?
What year was this?
Oh, 1999,
Oh wow,
I think.
That was long time.
And I was in West Africa, in Guinea, maybe 6 months.
Dangerous place, would you say?
I think Guinea was a dangerous place. Ethiopia could have been dangerous. I don't really know. It was certainly, back then, it was wild. It was like kind of uncontrolled.
Right.
Yeah.
And how was flying back then? Like, did you have to fly via Dubai or?
To Ethiopia, no. It was. I started from Canada back in those days.
I see.
I was in South Korea, then I flew back to Canada, and I organized a trip to Ethiopia. So I flew from Canada to Paris, I think. Or was that?
Do you remember all of that?
Oh no, I don't remember. Well, when I went to Guinea, it was with Air France. That flight definitely went through Paris.
Right. If you could say go back in time, which countries would you repeat and which you would repeat?
Oddly enough, I've never had a bad experience anywhere. The only one country for me was disappointing,
Which was?
and that was Laos.
Ooh,
But
wow.
I think it was because I just went there in the wrong way at the wrong time, and yeah, it was just a weird time. I was in Bangkok, and I ended up taking the train from Bangkok to the border, and the train had like 500 backpackers on it.
Oh, wow.
And then we all got to the border, and everybody piled off, a big herd of us. And Laos was full of party towns.
How long ago was that?
Well, again, decades ago. I went to all. Previous to that, I was more accustomed to doing like cycling trips and being way out in the countryside by myself. And I was surrounded by all these young drunks partying and rafting down the rivers
Right.
and getting drunk and rock and roll music, and it was just weird.
How did you pay for things back then? There was no credit card, no?
No, just cash, but I had traveler's checks, so I'd have to go to a bank.
So how does traveler check work?
You just go to the bank and cash them in, and the bank has a deal with American Express.
I see.
They get the money back by. Yeah, it was the only way you could do it.
Wow.
There were no ATMs. Yeah, traveler's checks.
Difficult.
Yeah, actually, in a way, it was easy. Just took more time. You go to the bank.
Were there more scams back then or now?
Now, I think so. Now, yeah. Banking was so simple.
So when do you expect this video to be out?
Not for a while.
Oh my god, I'll watch this from home and I'll be like, ah, I was there.
Well, this video will be, as I said, start off with egg coffee in the morning, noodles, and then coming here and walking through these alleyways. Nothing very dramatic. Well,
So Doug, in your years of travel, if you were to write a book, do a podcast talking about your years of travel, what would be the major themes that you cover? Like, would you say you have become more, they say travel opens you up, right? You become more empathetic towards people in general, I guess.
unfortunately, no.
I see.
Uh,
So what would you say is, in your case?
In a weird way, most of the things that I feel like I've learned are somewhat negative. Like,
Such as?
you hear a lot of people will go on about everyone in the world is the same. We're all as you travel, you learn that we're all alike. My feeling has been the exact opposite. From my experience going from country to country, I'm amazed we aren't at war all the time. I'm not surprised that wars happen. Communication, I mean, I can't do anything here with the language barrier. So we get two countries trying to communicate. I'm amazed we don't have war constantly. And people to me are so different.
But do you miss the comfort of the Western world?
No. I mean, my whole life I've never had money.
I see.
So in the West I was never comfortable.
Okay.
I live much better overseas than I ever did in Canada. Because the only time I spent in Canada, I was a student. I had no money,
And you pretty much traveled since the age of?
When did I? I mean, I went toDia. That was my first trip on the
Right.
exchange program.
Yeah, you told me that.
But that was when I was 19
That's when you
years
decided
old.
that you wanted to travel further.
Well, I always knew I wanted to.
Right.
I just didn't know how. I didn't have a clue how you go to other countries. I had no experience. Then I went to India, and yeah, that changed me completely when I saw India. Again, we're talking about India back in the 80s, so very different from India today,
This is peak socialist India.
I guess.
There
Yeah,
was no Coca-Cola back then.
it was quite a wild experience. And I was coming at it from a very sheltered point of view, small town Canadian. I didn't know anything about the world, knew nothing. And I had all the prejudices of a Canadian, I think.
Right.
We just assumed we were the center of the world,
Right.
the West.
As the British
And then I
people.
went to India, and it was like, oh, holy crap.
So,
Yeah.
what is the first thing that, say, shocked you about India?
Mainly the scale of it. Everything was bigger than I ever imagined. In terms of time, how far back in time India went, in terms of the cultures, the music, the traditions, everything. The scale of the country itself, in terms of the languages. And I think what really shocked me was seeing millions of people who come from are completely oblivious to everything I thought was mainstream culture, right? So my head was full of whatever was in the movie theaters back in those days,
Right.
with Star Wars and Jaws, and you're listening to the Beatles, whatever, and then you go to another country, and I was so inexperienced, it never occurred to me that in other countries, they'd never heard of Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Nobody listens to Led. It's like, oh, they have their own music.
Right.
What the? Yeah.
Right.
A simple concept like that was brand new to me. So, yeah. Kind of embarrassing, but the way it was.
And what about food? Like the first time you left Canada, were you surprised that spices could be used in so many dishes? We could add turmeric to our milk and drink it, for instance.
In a way, I suppose, but I was so overwhelmed by everything. I didn't have time to be amazed by individual things. I was in a state of shock the whole time. In India, my main concern was just not dying. We were sick all the time. In the villages.
Were you there volunteering?
In a way, but not really. We weren't doing any good. You know the NCC?
Right.
They were our counterpart organization. So we went to a village, very small village, like 600 people, a farming village. And we all lived with families. And I had a counterpart from India, a guy my age, but he was part of the NCC. And we lived with the local family. We ate what they ate. We worked in the fields with them. But I think overall, most of the Canadians in India were in a state of shock and really unhappy the entire time.
Right.
It was too much for us. We couldn't handle it. The lack of privacy inside. I mean, it was a very poor village. So the family I was living with, all the men slept in one small room. We all slept on the floor like sardines in a row. Yeah. And we were sick to our stomach all the time. We were in agony all the time. We were so sick. We didn't get enough to...
Were you there for?
What's that?
How many days were you there for?
3 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And they had no bathroom of any kind. So
You had to use outdoors.
the field. But in the middle of the night, in order for me to get out, I had to step over all these men. I couldn't speak with any of them. We couldn't communicate. The men, the sons, all. And they all want to know, where are you going? What are you doing? And I'm just like, oh my God, I'm just going to die. I've got diarrhea. And it's pitch black. There's no electricity at night. Stumbling out into the sugarcane field. Rajasthan.
Wow, that's hot as well.
I guess, yeah. It was just outside of Udaipur. That was the closest city, was Udaipur.
Now you go to Udaipur, it's filled with tourists.
Yeah. Yeah. The only way we survived was on the weekend we had like a day off, and we all grabbed bicycles and we rode from the village into Udaipur. And we would just get bags and bags of jalebi and mandu, the round yellow sugary balls. Laddu. And we just like, we were starving to death. We couldn't get enough food in the village. We got this kind of gruel, and all the women in my team, they all got fat. They went to India kind of slim, and they all just came out like fat because they ate so much sugar, because they didn't get proper diets in the village. It was awful.
Well, on the bright side, it taught you a lot as well.
Who did?
On the bright side, it taught you a lot. It taught you a lot. A lot of lessons to be learned as well.
Well, the program did, but oddly enough, I think all of us joined the program because of India. I signed up to go to Indonesia, not India, but they assigned me to the India team. So all of us Canadians, we saw the poster, oh wow, I want to go to India, I want to go to Indonesia. But when the program happened, the Canadian half of the program was much more interesting to us, much more educational. We learned a lot more from the Canadian half of the program than we did from going to India, because India overwhelmed us.
I see.
We weren't ready for it. It was just like...
I wish you went to the south instead of north. So when was your last visit to India?
That one. It was the only time I went there.
You'll have to go back.
I don't know.
You should go back once.
India, I don't know, man.
Give you a shot. You know?
It defeats people. It's too much.
It's a hard country.
There's two, you know, the Tread the Globe people? It's a UK couple. They're going around the world in a van. They're in India right now.
I see.
Or they're posting videos from India. But they don't really have a lot of experience. They're just filming out the windshield of their van.
Right.
But they're driving in India. That's pretty challenging. Later in the evening, as you can see, dinner is over with my friend. I didn't really film the rest of the meal. I just sort of slowly worked my way through my meal there. We're chatting about all kinds of things. And now I'm heading back to my hotel, basically reversing my steps. So there's the tower back there, Viettel Tower right up there. And here's the roundabout. So I just have to basically reverse engineer how I got here with the power of my memory and the power of Google Maps. First thing is to get past this roundabout. It's amazing. The traffic has probably been flowing like this for hours ever since I came by here on my way. Never really stopped. Still going. Not as much traffic now, but maybe a little bit more dangerous just because it's darker and they can't see you as well. And then on this side, same thing. There's even a little crosswalk right here. So I'm crossing at the crosswalk. I see a car coming. I'll wait till the car goes by and then I'll slowly head across. There you have it. Now, I'm not entirely sure which road I came down. I think it was this one over here. But I'll head in that direction, see where I end up. Yeah, I'm not sure. I might have come from that direction, but I don't think so. I think I came down this street. Could have been that one over there as well. Yeah, well, there's the tower and the traffic of Ho Chi Minh City. Pretty impressive. Surprisingly, I think it was this one, the smaller one. I think this is the road that I followed to get here. Not that it matters, either one goes in the same direction, but I kind of want to walk the same route, see it from a different angle. Yeah, this is where, now I recognize it. This is where this place was not quite as busy when I came this way. Yeah. I remember this place here. There was a woman up ahead, was sorting through a big pile of junk. Gave me the impression that this building was being demolished or something, or being renovated. She had a whole bunch of stuff. She was sorting through like secondhand electronics and stuff. I remember all this now. And there's the Viettel Tower. It's funny how you recognize things, because I remember walking by this place and noting the sign, Saigon Tourism College. I remember seeing that as I walked by and wondering what one learns at a tourism college, what skills you develop there. And another very busy road coming up. Next stage of my journey, get across here and head down this narrow road. It's almost like this road was designed specifically for scooters and motorcycles. Anything larger, like this van, you can barely fit through it. Pizza, hamburger. A lot of drink stalls all along here. Every kind of drink you can imagine. You just stop on your scooter, get your drink to go. You know, I get the feeling it's almost like this is a one-way street, because the scooters that are coming towards me are all really hugging the edge of the road. Like they're all cutting much closer to me than they need to. Like these scooters here. It's almost like, I don't know, I'm probably imagining it, but it's almost like it's like they're going the wrong way and they're trying to be unobtrusive, but nah, can't be. These guys are all riding right down the middle of the lane. More drinks. There's a couple of dogs, family pets. I love to see that. Dogs on a scooter, enjoying the ride with the family. This is my new favorite street in Ho Chi Minh City. I have a new favorite street every day. And somewhere around here, I think I went down a smaller alleyway. It might have been that one right over there. But even if I did, I think I'd like to continue down this street the full way, all the way to the end. Yeah, I think when I came up to the tower, I was going down a narrow alleyway, just one alley over. I didn't come up this street here, but I think I'll take the street the whole way, since I haven't seen this until now. Some bubble milk tea. And I think this road goes all the way to the edge of the park where my hotel is located. So I should recognize my neighborhood when I get to it. a road like this, you could set yourself a project of just walking its entire length and trying something from every one of these shops along the way. Every day you just pick one new one like this, get yourself a snack, and then next day move on to this one over here, and then this one over here. How long would it take you to get to the end of this, just this one street? A lot of drinks places though, so many of them. Yeah, I don't recognize this intersection at all. But as far as I know, I just keep going straight. Yeah, I can just duck down this alleyway, I think. I'm starting to see the occasional white dude like me wandering around, so I know I'm getting closer to my neighborhood in District 1. And here's a happening place. Yeah, this is the sort of life that goes on all night, every night. And yeah, it's always interesting to be out at this time of night to see it. I think up ahead, this smaller alley links up with a bigger alley, and that should take me back to my park. Getting close. It's not that far, like 2 kilometers, 30-minute walk from the tower to get back here. And I think we're here at the park. Though this is the far end of the park. I don't think I've been to this end of it before. This road took me to a different spot. Yeah, it's pretty close though. My egg coffee, little Hanoi, is just up here on the left. And there it is, right there. That's where the day started. Little Hanoi egg coffee. Closed now. Simple cafe on the corner. And my noodle place for lunch was just over there. So we've pretty much come full circle on my day, and just half a block away from my hotel. Talk about tired, hot and tired. Back in my elevator, heading up to the 5th floor. I grabbed a couple of cold bottles of Saigon beer. They're in my knapsack back there, and I have a fridge in my room. So yeah, you buy 2 of them, you get a big discount. So I'm gonna put 1 in the fridge and have 1 tonight. Getting up early tomorrow morning to meet up with Everjoy again for breakfast. Oh. And that is it for the day. Man, what a day. Yeah, back in my room here at the 5th floor of the Adenia Hotel. How did the day go again? It started with egg coffee at Little Hanoi, and then I took a bit of a break back here in my room. Then I went out for pho, had a bowl of pho for a mid-afternoon lunch, and then I went off to meet my friend for dinner. Yeah, enjoyed that quite a bit. The walking there and back was really a highlight. Just to walk down those interesting alleyways in that really busy street. I enjoyed that a lot. Really interesting to see that side of the city. So with that, back at my home, after a pretty interesting day, I'm going to shut down the GoPro. That's it for today. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Testing, testing, testing. And I guess this is what I've been talking about all along, that this park has a grassy tree, typical grassy area with a bunch of trees as a park up top, but then there's also some sort of a market which I believe extends underground, and maybe this is it over here. I don't think I'm going to go in right now, but this might be the entrance to the central market, or this could be a weekly above ground market, I'm not sure. Oh, private way for only day by day's customer. Oh, look at this. Huh. So it's a restaurant entrance day by day. Look at that. Beautiful.